Welcome back to Coffee with the Authors. I'm Wendelin Van Draanen, and this is Mark Parsons. We are traditionally published authors who are here to try to help you make sense of the craft and business of writing. In this episode, we're going to talk about using holidays to help with the structure of your story. Take it away, Mark.
Having a familiar holiday will immediately ground your reader as to kind of where and when we are in the story. For example, if your character ends up going downtown, going shopping or something, and there are Christmas decorations in the stores, you don't have to say much about that. Just that they notice the Christmas decorations, or that they hated the Christmas decorations, or that they love the Christmas decorations, which says something about their character. But the fact that the Christmas decorations are up lets the reader immediately know, A, it's somewhere between late November and mid to late December. And then also all of the kind of holiday vibes that go along with that. Some of those are those good, happy, warm kind of things. And some of those are those really stressful things. Everything's crowded and you're trying to get stuff taken care of at the last minute, and all the stresses around family coming. All of that can be kind of signified to the reader simply through mentioning that the reader sees holiday decorations, and that's much more organic than doing the, well, as you know, Fred, it's December 17th or whatever.
When I was starting out as a writer, I didn't even realize that I did this, but it's a very natural thing to incorporate in your stories. So with the Sammy Keys series, the first book takes place the first week of 7th grade. And then the next book, just naturally, Sammy's growing up in her life. The next book was a Halloween book, which just seemed very natural. Like, this is something that these kids, celebrate or do. So it became an anchor point to the second book. And then in the evolution of Sammy Keys, she's growing up a month at a time from book to book. So in the next book, it was like a Thanksgiving book where there was a scene that happened or culminated around Thanksgiving. And then the fourth book, there's a holiday parade and all these things that have to do with Christmas. And then in the fifth book, it happens over New Year's. And so it was sort of an evolution that I didn't set out to do, but in the natural events of a person's life, there are holiday-like touchstones. And if it doesn't have to be a Christmas book, it doesn't have to be a Halloween book, but if you have one of these holidays or something that is an anchor point for people coming together, or action that happens, or something that you've been dreading, or something that you're going toward, it doesn't necessarily have to be, the total focus of the book, but it can be one of those things that helps kind of create just an overall sense of time of year, the emotions that go with it, all the things that happen in certain events. And it's actually really helpful. I find it really enjoyable.
In the 909 Project, the relationship between the two main characters is kind of bookended by two holiday parties. There's a Dia de los Muertos party, basically around Halloween, where they kind of have their first real conversation. And then there is a Christmas party at the same location, where they kind of, and in between those two parties, their relationship they've gotten along and then they've not gotten along, and they've had fights and they've broken up and they've had this misunderstanding. But the Christmas parties where they actually finally kind of get together. So thematically, the growth of their relationship, the budding of their relationship, is bookended by these two parties, which to me makes it more resonant, because the whole thing is kind of thematically tied together. Although it's not a Halloween book and it's not a Christmas book, and the book doesn't have to have anything to do with holidays, but just the idea that you can use certain periods of time which are going to be familiar to the readers. They're kind of universal. Everybody knows when Halloween is, when Christmas is. That helps set things kind of in time and space and brings things home in an organic way.
We're going to talk about keeping a calendar later,
Yeah.
But I've started kind of looking for, okay, what happens in the month of March? That you could use or structure when you figure out what time of year your book is taking place, if it takes place in a small window or a large window. Like with the Sammy Keys series, there are 18 books, so we've had more than one Halloween.
Yeah.
So the whole Halloween and then doing something different the next Halloween, the next book in that long series. And that's where, again, we'll talk about calendar later, but that's where having a calendar can really come in handy. So in your own writing, have you ever used a holiday as an anchor point, or have you found a way to incorporate a holiday so that it's not, that holiday book, but that it's a tool that you've used or a setting that you've created that has helped dimensionalize the story that you've written? We'd love to hear, what's your favorite holiday? What do you like to include in your writing? Is there something that you steer away from? Is there something that you gravitate toward? I know he and I, we just really like Halloween. There's so much that you can do with Halloween. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We hope you have very happy holidays. Remember to dream big, work hard, don't give up. Have your writing do a little jingle, jingle, jingle.
And keep writing. I know.
Wait.
Shut up.